Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Mind Model Mastery Secrets. My name is Ashley Ann, and I'm here with Blair Dunkley.
Hey,
He
everybody.
he is a mind model master, and I'm excited to get to know you guys and share with you a little bit more about us and how we came to be here on our podcast. So, Blair, if you want to maybe get started a little bit with how you became the mind model master and really truly founded and created mind models.
Well, like people call me a mind model master, and it's mindmodelmasterysecrets.com, but it's the mastery of the mind models. Yes, I created them, but they were basically created out of necessity, actually. Like
Mhm.
I needed to figure stuff out. So, yeah, for those of you that don't know me, and that's probably most people right now, the whole thing was. I started a school, private post-secondary educational institution, and it was accredited. Um, and I started that private college with my mother and Vicky. The three of us were partners, and we started generating, like helping people and getting contracts from the government, actually, back in the day. 80% of our student population was potentially suicidal.
Mm.
So things needed to work.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's what you mean by you created it out of necessity?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, this was done from this whole area. The background of this was I realized that life skills had worked extremely well, but it
Mhm.
wasn't actually designed to work with a mental health population per se.
So when
Um,
you say life skills, what do you mean for the people
well,
that
basically, the government created had a 5 year budget. There was people that went off and got a budget for 5 years to generate and do research in the areas where people were having difficulties. So problem solving, coping, and success. So
Mhm.
people needed to become successful and get back to work. But problem solving and coping were social skills, as you could call them, or life skills
Yeah.
that were gapped out. But the government, they hadn't finished all of their research at doing the research project when they got shut down by the government.
Hmm.
So um, my mom, myself, and Vicky, so Madeline Dunkley and the three of us started up life skills colleges, and that was the thing that started shifting everything. But at the end of the day, we had people that were lacking skills and behaviors
Hmm.
that were having, coming to us that had phobias, fears, and anxieties that couldn't get back to work. And there were issues with how do people cope more effectively in their life?
Hmm.
And how do we shift people? Because we had a relatively short 4 month period working with people for full days, um, full days or half days, to be able to shift people and get them back into generally employability or definitely out of the mental health area
Yeah.
back in the day. But what happened was um, we were starting to turn over staff.
Mm.
And people would come in and we'd train up the coaches, but the staff would leave after they'd completed their two group training to get permanently certified. They'd leave
Mm.
mostly because we had very tough clients, and that became problematic.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so, what I needed to do was find better ways to keep our coaches employed and able to cope but not dig into and get overwhelmed by the problems of our clients.
Hmm.
And that's where the mind models came in.
Yeah.
And it was basically a lot of our clients had, training in psychology, university grads, or people that had taken some psychology courses. Quite a few of them didn't, and they just came into coach training.
Yeah.
And so it was basically turning and burning.
Hmm.
Now, that's not very good for a business.
No, not at all.
So, because you just get somebody that's capable and they go work for somebody else.
Hmm.
Well, how do you keep those employees in your employ happy, content, and not burning out? Well, that's where I started doing all my research.
Mm.
But I thought, mindset was a big thing, NLP was a big thing back in the day. Those two were really big deals, and some of them still are.
Hmm.
A lot of coaches out there are doing mindset coaching.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was trained up. Well, fortunately, I thought I went in and I found somebody. I
Yeah.
had life skills where I was a life skills coach and actually was starting to get trained up as a trainer. And
Hmm.
I went out there and got trained as a mindset facilitator so I
Okay.
could help people with their mindset.
Hmm.
Um, Also got NLP, but that's another story. So the mindset stuff was I did really well with it, I thought, for about the first 4 years.
Hmm.
And my dad wound up going in for open heart surgery.
Hmm.
The problem was is that he made it through the open heart surgery, but 15 minutes before he was going to be released to the general population back off the intensive care, he unfortunately stopped breathing.
Mm.
And the doctors induced a coma,
Yeah.
which he never came out of.
Hmm.
And that was a major impact on my life. I remember going home 2 weeks after my dad went into the coma, after the doctors just told us that my dad had a 99% chance of never coming out of the coma.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Just, yeah, crushing
Hmm.
is in fact.
Hmm.
So I went home that night and I went downstairs, took a shower, and I remember just crumpling into the corner and convulsively crying and just feeling the hot water go cold.
Yeah.
And I crawled out and pulled a towel over myself. And the next clear thing that I recall was actually going and talking with my mindset trainer
Yeah.
who trained me up. And I'd already put myself through about an hour and a half battery of skills and things to try and get my mindset in place and do some exercises. And I did that over like it was more than an hour and a half. I did that to myself because I was trying to get it back.
Yeah.
But she did the same battery of stuff in about an hour and a half, about 90 minutes, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I just knew my mindset wasn't where it was.
Yeah.
And she had the audacity to look at me and tell me, Blair, you just don't believe enough. And I went, fuck you, and left.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Like flipped her the bird.
Yeah.
And am I still a little pissed? Yes, I still am. If that was sounding a little harsh, it was way harsher in person
Well, and the
because
sad thing is, I bet you so many listeners have been in that same place where they're searching, they're spending money, and they're putting so much effort into trying to better their life, trying to be happy, try to move through these hard situations, myself included until I met you, and we come up short, and you just are left feeling so frustrated and angry and hopeless and depressed, really.
absolutely true. And you don't have that connection.
Mhm.
And the stuff that you were taught
Yeah.
doesn't work
Yeah, exactly.
right when you need it most.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's like you go to counseling and the counselor doesn't guarantee, but says, yeah, I can help you. And then what?
Yeah, exactly. I actually, before I met you, had a great counselor that had helped me through a couple of things. And then I had a really bad accident, which I'll talk about more eventually. And he actually wouldn't charge me. I think there was 4 sessions he never charged me for because he's like, I honestly can't help you. You have all the tools and they're not working for you, so I'm not going to charge you. And so at least he didn't charge me, but it literally, he was An older gentleman has his own counseling business, had been doing it for decades, and he's like, "There's no way I can help you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sort of when you found me. Is that right?
Yeah, so I kept going to him for probably 2 years.
Oh,
I think I met you 3 years into after my accident happened, 3 years later. Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
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 Well, I'm certainly glad you found relief
Yeah.
eventually.
Me too.
You
Yeah.
know, like that, and that's one of the things that all of the stuff that I've developed,
Hmm.
like I developed it out of the need. I needed to fix myself
Hmm.
because mindset didn't work.
Yeah.
And I'd already started working at the college. And the cool thing about everything that I did was life skills was based on three principles, core principles. Everything has to be identifiable,
Hmm.
repeatable, and duplicatable,
Yeah.
which, when you study science,
Hmm.
that's sort of the scientific model,
Yes.
the repeatable and duplicatable thing.
Hmm.
So naming and labeling, it was one of the first mind models I created. So identifiable, it has to be named and labeled
Yeah.
in a simple enough manner that people can understand it
Yeah.
easily.
Hmm.
It has to be, you have to be able to do it over and over again,
Yeah.
repeatable
Hmm.
in similar situations and get a similar result.
Yes,
And then the duplicatable needs to be transferable to somebody else.
for sure.
And all of my methodologies, whether it's phobia freedom formula or mind model method coach training, or even igniting the buying conversation, all of these use mind models.
Yeah. And that's, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's what I really like about it because you read so many books, you go to counseling, and it's all like your mentor talked to you about how you didn't believe enough. Like
Yeah,
there's no way to quantify belief and faith and hope and all of those different emotions. And so it's really like it's a wishing game of I really wish or I really hope this is going to work out for me.
yeah,
And then, like in your life experience, in my life experience, and most people I know, something bad, really bad happens and it doesn't work. It's not duplicatable, it's not repeatable because it was never identifiable. And that is the game changer here. The game changer is you know exactly what you need to do for whatever situation that you're in, and it's something that's quantifiable. It's not something that
exactly.
is wishing and hoping and a chance, a
You're
luck.
not believing. It's not based on belief.
Yeah.
It's based on externally verifiable
Mhm.
information that
Yeah.
can be tested.
Yeah.
And that's what every mind model is based upon. In fact, every mind model that I teach, I tested it at Life Skills College. So it worked 80% of the time the first time.
Hmm.
And that was a higher standard of excellence or testing than what even was done with the original mind model, or I should say life skills that I
Hmm.
based stuff on. They just saw things and they just saw that, oh, somebody might have this, and they put it down in there.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, it's there a lot of the time, but they found out over time they eliminated a ton of them.
Yeah.
Like they had thousands, but they found like simple things like what you're doing is you as you're talking to me, you're nodding your head.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the life skills. And you just saying, yeah, right
Hmm.
there. That's another one. So nodding your head is called non-verbal following.
Yeah.
And yep is called verbal following. And
Yeah.
now there's only like they shrunk it down to or got it down to a lot, but 362 core mind life skills. And the life skills are important, but they're pretty basic and people have them. However, if I just sit and talk to you like this all the time, see, you're going weird on me already,
Yeah.
because I just remove some of the basic life skills that people have.
Yes.
Well, that's fine if you're having serious mental health issues, but most people just have serious life issues.
Hmm.
And that's where the mind model sort of stepped in. What
Hmm.
happens when people are sort of moderately coping well with their whole life, but there's just an area that isn't working for them? Do these basic, more basic life skills work, or can we shift that over to mind models
Hmm.
in how people think
Yeah.
and not trying to tell them what to think,
Hmm.
which is basically where mindset goes.
Yeah.
Is like mindset goes into, telling people the what of it and, do what I do and you'll get the same results, which
Hmm.
is completely utter BS.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, your brain is not wired the same as mine.
Yes.
We each have unique neurostructures.
Hmm.
Now, we also have a ton of commonality,
Hmm.
but our experiences are different, and how we interrelate and apply those differences in our life is unique to us.
For
So
sure.
when somebody's preaching to you, well, do what I do and you'll be effective too, that doesn't work.
Hmm.
Or believe what I believe and
Yeah.
it'll work for you too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain percentage of people that will work for,
Hmm.
but that's always like around 20% of the population.
Yeah. It's not a very
Now,
high number.
pardon me?
It's not a very high number.
No, it's not high enough.
Yeah.
When you're having the problem, it's nowhere close to high enough.
Hmm.
And so I wanted to get my thing up to 80% of the time. And how come 80% of the time? Because 80% of the time, if you actually have a problem, I want those odds if I went to Vegas. Like 80% win rate, I'd break the frickin' bank. Unfortunately,
That
people,
would be huge.
that would be huge. And I know that nothing's perfect. And the mind models, although they work, you may not have picked the mind model that actually is the thing that you need to work in that situation. But when you test it out, you'll
Hmm.
find out if it worked, if it was effective or ineffective.
Yeah.
And when you find out that didn't work, you've got another mind model
Yeah.
because there's over 100 mind models
Yeah.
that you can find, all tested, all all lined up there for people to figure out. Now, it's more than just random
Hmm.
because there's ways of thinking it through. And that was the stuff that I started researching when my father went into a coma.
Hmm.
And like I said, one of the very first mind models I developed was naming and labeling.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first.
Because you're
Another one,
left
go
feeling hopeless. Like you have all of these different options. You're never going to be left feeling hopeless. So that's the
correct.
great place to start. Yeah.
And then I started noticing all of the places where I started, well, dipping into a bit of despair
Hmm.
and, maybe even a bit of depression around my dad going into a coma. And I couldn't afford that because I had a school with 80% of my students already depressed and
Yeah.
potentially suicidal. So this isn't going to work. I need to get myself out of here.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'd already started research in the area of question concepts, which is being able to hear how people are speaking, listen to them speak, but figure out how they're thinking in real time.
Hmm.
And it gives a person a real, what I refer to it as a fair advantage
Yeah.
because everybody talks and we all have first impressions and we do that. But is there some science that we could apply to make high probability predictions
Hmm.
to how they're thinking
Hmm.
and just increase the probability?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And that's basically how mind models wound up coming into reality,
Yeah.
is because I needed to do the research and test it.
Yeah.
Um, just one other quick story here.
Yeah.
When I was doing the testing of this stuff, while testing out other mind models,
Hmm.
this is sometime after I already figured out, um, years later, after figuring out the question concepts.
Hmm.
And we were doing a number of interventions with people who were potentially suicidal. So one of the things, a guy who was referred to us by the university, who was I believe he'd already graduated but went back for more.
Hmm.
Um, Whatever. Anyway, his education level doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But he was in mathematics.
Hmm.
And he'd been working on statistics, and this is a long time ago, before we had, all of the algorithms that we have today and whatever. He was working on learning equations,
Mhm.
equations that actually learned. And he was in that area and working on statistics,
Mhm.
like validating the statistical um, effectiveness of these learning equations.
Yeah.
He asked me a question, Blair, when you go out on these runs, these suicide runs, um, how many times does somebody on who's suicidal give you before they sort of get all nice with you and shoo you out? Well, I turn around and I asked him, "Well, you came to us because you were referred to us because you're potentially suicidal, correct?" And he said, "Yeah." Well, I asked him the same thing. Well, how many attempts would you give me if I was working with you? And I'll put it down from my side and you put it down from your side. Just write it down, your number on a piece of paper.
Mhm.
And so we both held up her paper and it both said the number 3 on
Mhm.
it. And I went, wow, that's really fascinating. And he went, man, that's really fascinating. I was fascinated, but he was really fascinated because at the end of the day, he said, if with these learning equations,
Yeah.
if you cause the equation to evaluate, figure out what the issues are after 3 evaluations, you're at a probability of 99.9 something percent of breaking through
Mm.
and seeing the possibility, not figuring it out completely,
Yeah.
but you go from stuck to unstuck.
Mm.
And at that point, when you are, in this case, suicidal,
Yeah.
and you've given yourself, and you can't do it where you just, oh, I tried this, I tried this, I tried that. No, because you're judging yourself. You're
Mhm.
not actually evaluating.
Yeah.
But once you learn how to properly self-evaluate or work it through with a trained mind model method coach,
Yeah.
then your probability goes way up
Mhm.
if you've given it 3 solid attempts to figure stuff out and evaluate correctly
For
each
sure.
time.
Is there a reason that three is so powerful?
Yes and no. I
Mhm.
mean, that's the whole thing to this.
Mhm.
Um, there's sort of like these magical numbers
Yeah.
out there, and 3 happens to be one of them. 7 is another one.
Mhm.
You know, 9, 10, or 11 are other ones.
Mhm.
And 10 in this case is, well, anyway, I don't want to get into that story. What I wanted to do was finish this one here.
For sure.
And anyway, he came back and said, okay, you've got this 99% chance
Yeah.
of breaking through. So almost 100% of the time,
Mhm.
you'll be through the tough stuff.
Yeah.
I read a thing years later. It was a paper from a university that was done on research on how many attempts do people give themselves? How many tries do people give themselves before they quit something?
Mhm.
Do you want to guess?
I'm guessing
Or
three.
no, actually,
Okay.
it's 1.2 attempts
Okay.
is
And-
what that study came back. And
Yeah.
they've done multiple ones. And it went from 0.99 sort of thing to 0.15 or 17 in that range. But if you take all of these, uh, you know, research analysis and jam them down, 1.2 was the average.
That's not very many tries.
No, but that's the majority of people in their life.
Yeah.
When you have something, how many times do you try? And how many times is that a zero? I'm
Mhm.
not going to try.
Yeah.
Like you go to somebody hands you some food. I don't want to try that,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and that's the really scary thing about a lot of the books, a lot of the podcasts, a lot of the gurus, a lot of the courses, counselors, you name it, that are out there right now. They're not, like you said, identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable. And so if people are only trying once, it's leaving a lot of people lost and a lot of people hopeless.
You
And
got it.
for me, for my story, for my origin story, my biggest positive was that I definitely tried a lot that more than 1.2 times. So like as I went through my journey, so a quick little what happened to me. So I was 24, I was walking across the street and a drunk driver hit me. I had 5 brain bleeds. Three resulted in a permanent brain injury, and I collapsed my lungs. I had internal bleeding. I broke my ribs in 20 places, my spine in 5 places, and my
Wow.
skull. It was, yeah, it was significant. It was 12 years ago, so it feels like a completely different life. But I was bedridden for months. That became a habit pattern, which I'm sure we'll chat more about at some point too. And I was depressed. I was a successful business owner at the time. I was in the wonderful young 20s and made a lot of money, had a lot of friends, and felt like everything was ripped away from me. And I had a lot of PTSD and a lot of problems that came from it. And I went to counselors, I went to psychologists, I became a Reiki master. I tried so many things. Like you name it, I've tried it. And
Mhm.
I was still working at building my business, and that's where I actually met you, was at a business event. And I watched you on stage give, I don't know, half-hour speech, was it?
That
And
I know. Yeah.
yeah, I remember sitting there and probably 5, 10 minutes in, I was like, I have to meet him. I don't know how. I was at that event, nobody. That was a completely new company that I had worked with, so I had no idea how I was going to get in front of you, and I just knew by the end of the weekend I had to meet you. And within 10 minutes of you getting off the stage, I had run into your ex-wife and daughter. And then I'm pretty confident I met you within a couple of hours. And
Hmm.
it changed my life, completely changed my life. And it is because what you do works and it's identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable. And I would be a very sad, very unsuccessful, depressed person had I not met you. That was my last try, to be honest. You were my last try, and I think I had given up before I met you, to be honest. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad you were there.
Me too. Yeah. And that's where the world does sometimes work in very wonderful, mysterious ways.
Yep.
And now it's been nearly a decade of us working on with each other on and off. And I the cool thing about what you do and what you teach is that it works into every different area of people's lives.
Yep.
You have been a business coach for me. You've helped me parent children. You've helped me in my relationships. You've helped me overcome PTSD, helped me get out of depression. Like the list goes on and on. And so it's been over a decade of knowing that if I really truly need something in a certain area, something that you have created within mind models works for me. And that is what's awesome about it because it is identifiable, repeatable, and duplicatable. I can't say that word now, I've said it too many times. It works.
Yeah.
It works in everything. And that is the coolest thing. I don't need to,
Well, it works in everything because it's not designed to work and fix one thing.
yeah,
It's designed to work with how you think
yeah,
and give you ways so that you know
yeah,
how to think
yeah,
as opposed to what to think.
yes. Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, it's rewiring your brain.
You're right.
And it's true rewiring your brain, not pretending, not positive thinking and all that kind of stuff. It's not lying to yourself. It's not wishful thinking. So
No,
that
exactly. And that's one of the things I tell people all the time when they take this stuff and they don't know me or they haven't been part of mind models before. They haven't seen me on YouTube or been to, like I do a free thing every Tuesday night,
yeah.
which is called the Blair Dunkley Experience. It's on YouTube.
Mhm.
People can join, like, that sort of thing. But the point being is that, when they don't know this stuff,
Mhm.
I tell them, do not trust me. You don't trust me.
Mhm.
Test it.
Yes.
Test me or test the information
Yeah.
because that's what I did. And that's how come I know it works 80% of the time, the first time, because I did the research on it.
Yeah.
And how many of these things out there, like mindset, have not actually been validated
Mhm.
before they're out there and sold?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, people are flocking out there and they're just I want to call them fraudulently slinging this stuff because, in fact, there was a guy back in the day who did a lot of personal development on stage. And one of the things that he would do on stage is throw out ideas of programs that he wanted to do. And when he got applause from the audience, he'd build out that program. But he had no idea. And this is in the area of personal development,
Wow. Yeah.
and he said it, you know what? you know, if I can sell it, I'll build it. And if I can't, sell it, or if I can't sell it, I won't build it.
Mhm.
And I go, well, how do you know you can build it? Well, I can make up any bullshit.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's literally what he told me.
Yeah.
It's people will buy that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, do you know that it works? Well, I know people want it.
Mhm.
So I'll sell it to them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but that's being a charlatan.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm not okay with that.
Mhm.
I'm not okay with people saying, well, let's figure out what people want
Mhm.
and then sell them it. Let's figure out what works
Yeah.
and find people who want what works.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
And I know you are too.
Yeah. And I
So,
think that's the difference. Like, this has changed our lives, our personal lives and our business lives in every way. And it's something that we want others to experience. That's why you do a free Blair Dunkley experience every Tuesday, is because
yep,
you want to get this out there that people can change their lives in significant ways that are helpful. I have a friend who has struggled with depression her whole life, and her mom passed away and left her an inheritance of like about $150,000. And she took about 2 years trying to fix her depression and spent all of that money and is still the same in the same place, depressed wise,
um,
as she was. And she is lost because of what is out there because it's a fad, it's trending, whatever word you want to use. It's a lot of people are seeing it as a business. It's an easy way to make a buck because when people
right.
are hurting, they're gonna buy if they think you have a solution. And
Well, I wanted to just share with you one of the people that's come into my model method coach training is a gentleman who actually his business is to help individuals who have graduated with either master's or PhD in psychology and
mm,
help them write, like tutor them to write the exam so they can become a clinician, a licensed clinical therapist,
yeah.
using that. But like he knows a ton about psychology.
Mhm.
And he keeps on quoting me, giving me all these pieces.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in helping people, the theory does not help you when you have the problem.
Mhm.
You don't need to know the theory.
Yeah.
What you need to do is have a way to get people resourceful.
Mhm.
And it's not a solution, by the way,
Yes.
it's resourceful
Yes.
because everything that I've done is to get people into resourceful states.
Yes.
And
That,
that's huge.
yes.
Instead of having answers, I don't give out answers.
Yeah.
I give out ways I don't give out, but I teach people how to think differently so that they can transform themselves
Mhm.
into the person they want to be. But it's on their way that they want to be, not my way. I don't tell them how to think. I don't tell them what to believe.
Mhm.
I just give them away. Just test your thinking against these mind models or
Yeah.
with these mind models and see what happens.
Yes.
And that's it.
Well,
And especially, by the way, in the phobia freedom formula,
mhm.
people having phobias, fears, and anxiety. And, that's going to be huge,
Mhm.
in terms of helping people just overcome that and stripping things down to very clear, very, very simple, practical steps so people can just do things quickly and rewire their brain literally
Yeah,
in like 45 minutes or less.
for sure.
And usually it's one and done.
Yeah.
But that's not a business model most people want to do.
Yeah.
They want to be trained up.
Yeah.
Now, if you're out there and you know how to do that and get the clients, which I show people how to do, because I also do IBC,
Mhm.
igniting the buying conversation, and I show people how to get their leads and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, if you give them things that work, people spread the word for you
Yeah.
and you get known because it's effective.
Well, and people don't want permanent fixes because then that ends the cash flow. And so that's another reason that it's the easy way to keep a business going is by having small glimpses of hope, but not a true fix. And
Exactly.
that's what makes us different. And as you were talking about being resourceful, that was just like huge light bulbs going off. That is exactly what this is. Because, and I was about to say that's huge at the same time that you said that's huge about getting resourceful because most people feel and are trapped because they don't feel like there's another option. They feel completely stuck where they are. And I personally think that this is a great place for us to stop chatting about this specifically because I think that that is a whole nother wonderful topic that we can have on our
Oh
next
yeah,
podcast about resourcefulness and the hopelessness that you feel when you feel like there's no other options. Because I know
absolutely.
so I just want to give a shout out to everyone that has stuck through um, to the end of this video and podcast, and I hope that you continue watching more. I would love to have interaction. I would love to have you guys leave a comment, give a thumbs up, give a 5-star rating, engage with us. We want to create a community where we are involved and helping others grow. So please leave a comment, please follow for more, and we'll catch you on the next
And
podcast.
maybe subscribe too.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Ashley, it was definitely a delight doing this kickoff podcast with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I look forward to doing more with you.
Me too. Yeah, I'm excited.